fastest show in sports.
The WNBA is a complete organizational disaster at this time. At a time when they should be reveling in the marvelous play, the wonderful athletes, the strides that they have made in the American sporting scene, the WNBA is a shitstorm that right now needs a tremendous overhaul. This all began, actually, well, it didn't really all just begin, but a couple of weeks ago, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, Cheryl Reeve, after a game where the fouls weren't called, where players were nearly injured badly, where it was just a disaster on court thanks to the officials, Cheryl Reeve met the media and said this.
And we talked about how dangerous it can be. You're hearing it from the other series. You're hearing other coaches. You're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt. There's fights. And this is the look that our league wants for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out and probably has a fracture. And so if this is what our league wants, okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating. It's bad for the game. The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy is fucking malpractice. I can take an L with the best of them. I don't think we should have to play through more than what they did. We got players, Masha's on the glass and gets fucking cracked. And there's no call. And all of them said, it wasn't my call. I don't know. I didn't have that. I didn't see it that way. They're fucking awful.
Cheryl Reeve is exactly correct. This is what the WNBA wants. The WNBA looked at their sport and said, okay, we have the NBA here, a very physical game. Fans love the physicality of the game. They love that nature of the game. There are fouls that are called. There are hard fouls that we let go. There are great players who are fouled. There are great players who do the fouling. We have to let it go because fans want physical basketball. So in the WNBA, when they actually got great players coming into the league here, they decided to use them as marketing. Granted, nothing wrong with that. But at the same breath, what they're doing is they are allowing the overtly aggressive, be tough, get in there, fight. They want people to look at the WNBA and not look at them as female basketball players. They don't want them to see them as women. They want them to see them as basketball players. And they equate that then with the NBA player, the tough, rough kind of basketball that goes on there. They want that kind of play because they believe that that is what you will watch. The WNBA has quietly long believed that if they focus on women's basketball, most people won't watch because they don't watch women's basketball. Now, this is the belief. This is the belief that goes on here. So we have to market the game as something a lot tougher. We have to market it along the lines of the NBA. We have to market it as a physical, tough game that people are going to appreciate, and they are then going to forget these are female athletes. Because no matter how you slice it, you can go ahead and tell me I'm wrong, you can go ahead and scream up and down, but there is still a faction in this country when it comes down to fandom and marketing and sales and all the money that's spent that doesn't really enjoy women's sports, that looks down on women's sports, that says it's second to men's sports, sometimes maybe even third, don't know what second is, but they don't like it because it's women's sports. They are, of course, dead wrong because the women athletes, especially in the WNBA, are sometimes, in my opinion, better than the NBA guys. I mean, I've watched both. I'm not a basketball fan, but I've watched both, and I have seen incredible skill on the women's side and incredible skill on the men's side. But the WNBA does not want you to think that these are women basketball players. They want you to think that these are basketball players who happen to be women, which they can then market to a female audience. They will, of course, market it as it's good for daughters, it's good for kids, it's good to show them that something else exists than the NBA. That's all marketing. That's all about making a buck. Everybody wants to get rich, right? So that's what it's all about. Market it as basketball and not women's basketball. And if the women on the court are just as tough, if they're physical, if they hack a sack, if they go crazy on the physicality of the game, if somebody gets hurt, it's okay because we're tough. We're just like the NBA, and that's why people are going to watch. That's their belief. Is it true? It probably is. To some people, it's probably true. To some basketball aficionados sitting out there, it probably is when they're looking at the game, and these are guys, for the most part, who will go, yeah, boy, that's good. Boy, they play just like the NBA players. It's a mindset that they have. So Cheryl Reeve is exactly right when she says this is what the WNBA wants and what they believe will succeed. Now, the next step is when the bomb was dropped and Nafisa Collier came out and put it right on the line, shocked everybody.
The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates. Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way. They ignore the issues that everyone inside the game is begging to be fixed. That is negligence.
She's right. The one thing that Collier said, the one word she said in her statement that really rings true is negligence. The management, the operational level, if you will, at the WNBA has been completely negligent from the very first moment of last season when they started to get some really great players, terribly negligent. Now, they're marketing the game, but they're marketing the game because they have to, and they've got to get the bucks in there. They've got to feed the TV contracts, and they've got to feed the sponsors. But when it comes down to officiating in the WNBA, it's a freaking disaster. I almost went there. I almost went to that word. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. It's awful. The officials are second-rate, third-rate, fourth-rate officials. They barely know how to call a basketball game. They miss more calls than they make. They don't even make calls when they should be made. They are allowing. The issue here is the players themselves know that they can get away with the hard foul. So they know it's not going to be called. They know it's going to be overlooked. They know it'll be a small foul if it's called. So they'll take it. They'll take the foul and they'll walk away. But they'll be as physical as they want. The officials in the WNBA have completely lost control of this game. Totally. All you have to do is watch any one of the games. It's abhorrently bad, the officiating in this league, because it's something that the WNBA really didn't think about. They really didn't focus on it. Again, this comes down to the fact that they want basketball. They want their game to be marketed as basketball first, not women's basketball. They don't want you to think of this as women's basketball. In the minds of the marketing people at the top of the WNBA, if you watch this game and go, that was great women's basketball, they failed. They didn't do their job because they want you to see this as basketball. They want you to go watch an NBA game, come watch a WNBA game, and not really be able to differentiate between the two. You're going to be able to see that the talent skills are just as equal in so many ways. You're going to see that the WNBA game, the women's game I was going to say, is played at a different level. That there are no sky-high hook dunks here. That the game is different. The ball is different. The way the game is presented is different. That's okay, but it's still basketball at its heart and soul. But the minute you think about this as women's basketball, they've lost. And that's why they want it to be a tough basketball league that people will look at and go, it's completely the same as the NBA. I have favorites here in the WNBA. I have favorites here in the NBA. All of this comes down to the leadership of the WNBA. And while Collier dropped the bomb about the officiating itself, when she got around to Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and decided to reveal what a private conversation was between the two of them, all bets are off.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
Now, did the commissioners say those words? This is a private conversation between the two. And Collier is giving us what she remembers of the conversation. Stop before you tune up. I'm not saying that Nafisa Collier wasn't telling the truth. I'm just saying it's a hearsay argument that we're listening to right now. Now, of course, Engelbert came back and said, I'm sorry that it was misconstrued that way, if you will, that it was characterized in that fashion. She has not come back and said, I never said that. She has not denied it. In some instances, she's correct. All of these great players are great players, but they are great partly because they have the theater to work from. They have the platform. They have the WNBA. They have the professional league. But it's a double-edged sword because those players are the ones who are making everybody wealthy. And then it comes down to the mini protest, if you will, this season where the WNBA players are basically saying, pay us what we're worth. Let's examine that for a moment, okay? The WNBA lost $40 million in 2024. That was less than the $50 million the year before. So they are getting better. But the NBA still subsidizes the WNBA. They make up that shortfall of that $40 million. So the NBA is still in there paying some of the freight. The WNBA has got to figure out how they continue to grow and still pay the players more than $60,000 or $70,000 a year. Look, I don't know what the exact contracts are in the WNBA, but I will tell you this. I think they're underpaid. In this day and age, when you make so many millions of dollars from sponsorships, from so many other areas, personal sponsorships as well as what the league gives you as well, there's no doubt these players deserve. Look, and it's one of these great arguments in sports. People always complain about what a player makes. Why? What do you care? The only reason that people equate what a player makes to themselves is because they believe that drives up ticket prices. In essence, it does. In essence, in some cases, it does not. Because in some cases, you've got arenas, stadiums that will sell out, and not one ticket dollar is actually going to make money for the franchise. It comes from all the television deals, the sponsorship deals, all the side deals that are on right now. And the WNBA is making money. They're getting there. But the players do deserve more. And the players do deserve to be fairly compensated. But at the same breath, they're not going to get there with this current leadership. The commissioner of the WNBA will stay in power unless the NBA says you're out. Adam Silver pulls all the handles here. And if he decides that she stays, she stays. If he decides, and the Board of Governors in the NBA decide that she goes, she goes. The problem with it is now, he has got an insurrection of players who are across the board saying this is exactly who the commissioner is. We're not surprised. When she denigrates players like that, when she speaks down to them, when she speaks low of them, we know that that is who Kathy Engelbert is. We know her. That's what they're saying. They're not saying that in so many words, of course, but even Caitlin Clark is saying it. Others are basically indicating that this is the kind of leadership we have. What he has here are players who are coming down now, Collier and so many others in the negotiating phase, are coming down to a new CBA. Will the players strike? They might. I love it when people say, go ahead and strike. It's just a bunch of women basketball players. Nobody cares. Wrong. The league is in a huge growth cycle right now. The league is making money. The NBA wants to make sure they make money because they want to stop subsidizing this league. The sponsors are in there right now for big bucks, and they want to be kept happy. So the players actually do have something to say here if they decide to walk out. Unfortunately, it's the end of the season, and it won't come around till next year, so we got lots of time to get there. But the players are pissed, and they should be. The management sucks. The leadership sucks. The officiating is abominable. It's so bad in this league. And if everything blows apart, they start to lose money again, and the WNBA takes a dive. I mean, there might be a couple of leagues out there, the 3-on-3 unrivaled league, maybe, that might do something for a few people, but it certainly is not a professional league the level of the WNBA. They have got to keep this together. It's a legitimate sport. It's an excellent sport. It's a competitive sport that in many ways is fun to watch if you're a basketball fan. Again, I say this up front. I'm not a huge basketball fan. If you asked me the four major sports, I would tell you that hockey, baseball, and football will go before basketball for me. That's just me. But as a sports guy who's been doing this for decades, I can tell great talent when I see it. And these WNBA players are great talents. They deserve what they get. Adam Silver and the NBA has got to fire Kathy Engelbert. They must fire the commissioner of the WNBA. They got to clean this mess up. And the only way to clean it up is to get her the hell out of there. She engenders not one bit of confidence from any of the players or any of the coaches. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops here. And when it comes to crappy officials, when it comes to bad play, when it comes to a league in desperate need to make money now, at the point where they are right there, WNBA is right there to make the big bucks, really big bucks. You need somebody in charge who is going to push these players on. It is a mutiny from the players. It is well earned. It is well deserved. And the NBA has now got to get together, and they've got to fire her. And the problem with it is, if they leave her in even during the CBA negotiations, that's not going to help. If the NBA truly wants to help save the WNBA, wants to make sure that this league exists, succeeds on its own, and eventually gets off their books, the commissioner is gone. You have to do it. She's proven that she can't handle this league. And that means that she has got to be out. If she stays past the CBA negotiations, it's going to be a nightmarish mess. They need to fire her now. We're doing this show on Friday, October the 3rd. By Saturday, October the 4th, she should be fired. Now, she won't be because it's just the way things work. But when you got players out there who have no confidence, the one at the top has got to go. And now, before it gets even worse.
Deadhead Berliner, the fastest show in sports.